Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Dynamics 365 Tech Talk. Today's topic is store inventory. My name is Erin, and I'll be your moderator today. We are broadcasting this web conference through Teams live events, and the audio can be heard through your device speakers. Today's web conference is being recorded on behalf of the Microsoft Corporation. By participating in this session using Microsoft Teams, your name, email address, phone number, and/or title may be viewable by the other session participants. If you do not consent to being a part of a recorded session, please disconnect at this time. The recording will be available on the TechTalk's Community Dynamics page within approximately 5 business days. If you have questions for the presenter or need support, please use the Q&A panel located on the right side of your screen. Our presenters will be responding to your questions throughout the presentation. Thank you for your patience during these announcements. Presenting for us today from Microsoft, we have Boyce Ju, Senior Program Manager. Boyce, over to you to kick us off.
Awesome. Thank you, Erin. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining today's Tech Talk. My name is Boyce Ju. I'm the Senior Program Manager on the Dynamics 365 Commerce team. And today I am joined with Michael Dai, Senior Software Engineer from our team, who will be assisting me to respond to your questions during my presentation. Thank you, Michael. We will reserve some time at the end of my talk to address additional questions or the ones we would like to highlight. Today's Tech Talk is about store inventory with Dynamics 365 Commerce. The goal of the talk is to help you discover the basic store inventory management concepts in our Dynamics 365 Commerce product, navigate various store inventory scenarios and operations in our point-of-sale application, and learn the underlying technical frameworks that empower those operations or functionalities. Now, to set the context, I want to briefly talk about Commerce overview and how store inventory fits into this big picture. As you know, Dynamics 365 Commerce is an omni-channel solution that Microsoft provides to unify your back office, in-store, call center, and e-commerce experiences. In our architecture, we have a back office component called headquarters or HQ, which is essentially where all the commerce master data, including product, inventory, pricing, etc., is managed and stored. And our solution serves a range of sales channels through our headless commerce engine as a central point of integration. Out of the box, we provide a native point-of-sale application, which gives our retailers a comprehensive set of functions they need to properly manage their store operations. Now, from store inventory perspective, we manage and process the master inventory data in headquarters, and we have capabilities in both headquarters and point-of-sale application to facilitate your inventory management scenario. For today's talk, we're going to focus on the inventory-related functions and operations we offer in the point-of-sale application. This picture illustrates the all-up inventory operation landscape in our point-of-sale application. We are providing the basic set of core capabilities that aims to meet the use cases of the majority of our customers for the store inventory management. And we want to give them a single application that can best handle the variety of the in-store inventory business processes. As you can see in the scope, we provide 6 operations: inbound, outbound, adjustment, movement, counting, and lookup. And fundamentally, those operations are utilizing the capabilities in the headquarters to process the inventory data in the ERP system. For example, the inbound and outbound operations process purchase orders and transfer orders. Those are the standard documents in our Dynamics ERP to track the product receipts, shipment, and the cross-warehouse inventory movement. And inventory adjustment, movement, and stock count, those 3 operations leverage various inventory journal. And as you may know, inventory journal is another concept or mechanism in our Dynamics ERP to post inventory transactions for various types. Technically, we also have three core frameworks in the middle layer: channel side calculation, asynchronous document framework, and inventory validation framework to empower those 6 operations. In the rest of my talk, I will walk through each one of the 6 operations with the end-to-end demos, and then deep dive those 3 underlying frameworks. Now, before that, I would like to outline 2 core concepts that will be referenced throughout my session. The first concept is warehouse. As we said before, commerce supports omnichannel. The products purchased by customers need to be fulfilled and delivered to the customers. In commerce, we're using the basic warehouse entity in Dynamics ERP to track and manage the physical inventory at fulfillment locations. Now, there are generally 2 types of fulfillment locations. One is physical store, which is typically configured with its own unique warehouse in headquarters and used to fulfill cash and carry transactions and in-store pickup orders. For some retailers, the store inventory might also be used to fulfill ship-to-home orders. And the other fulfillment location is distribution center, which is primarily used to fulfill customer orders, and as well as used as the storage and the transfer hubs for holding and redistributing inventory to individual stores as needed. The second concept I want to talk about is fulfillment group. And this is a mechanism in our headquarters for a company to define which stores and warehouses can fulfill orders for a specific selling channel. And you are allowed to associate multiple fulfillment groups to a given channel. Now let's get into our first inventory operation, inbound inventory. At a high level, this operation facilitates you to receive the inventory or the products into your store warehouse. In this operation, users can view the list of open or pending inbound orders for the store, and those orders indicate a plan for the inventory that will arrive at the store. And when the inventory physically arrives, users can use this operation to receive the items into the store inventory through either purchase orders or transfer orders. During the receiving process, this operation allows you to specify receipt location for those location-controlled items and allow you to register serial numbers for those serial-controlled items. You can also receive unplanned items which were not originally on the purchase order, or to close the remaining quantity if the shipper or vendor has confirmed that they cannot ship the full quantity as requested. In this operation, you can also check the historical receipts for a period of 7 days. And lastly, this operation gives you the ability to create new inbound orders to request inventory to be transferred from other stores or warehouses to your store. Now, for customers who have been with us for some time, you may know that we have another similar operation called picking and receiving in our point of sale application. I want to call out that picking and receiving operation is a legacy operation with limited functionalities. So if your company is still using that operation, we strongly recommend you to develop a strategy to migrate from the legacy one to this modern new inbound operation. So let's now roll a video to demo this new inbound inventory operation. In this demo, I will cover how to use the inbound inventory operation in point of sale to receive items through a purchase order. When I open the inbound inventory operation, I am presented this document list view. The active tab shows all the open purchase orders or transfer orders that are scheduled to be received by my store. The draft tab shows the draft inbound transfer order request that my store has created. And over to the complete tab, I can see all the orders that have been fully received by my store during the past 7 days. Now, assuming a purchase order package has just arrived, I'm switching back to the active tab and select that purchase order I'm going to receive. From the details panel, I can get a high-level overview of the selected purchase order, including the total quantity of items I'm going to receive how many items have already been received, and from which vendor this order was purchased. I can click the Order Details button to begin the receiving process, which takes me to this Document Details view. By default, the Receiving Now tab is shown, and this view is optimized for barcode scanning experience. If you have a device with barcode scanner and the items to receive are barcoded, you can simply start scanning the items to build this receiving list. The operation will validate the scanned item against the purchase order to check if there's a match. If yes, the item with the embedded quantity in the barcode will be added into the list. Now, if you don't have a barcode scanner, you can click the Receive Product button, enter the product number, and then the quantity you're receiving. If the item is location controlled, I can select a specific location in the store warehouse where I want to receive the item. Clicking the Enter will add the item into the receiving list, and I am prompted to receive the next item. An alternative way to do the receiving is to go to the Full Order List view, where I can see all the products in the purchase order that are expected to be received. As you can see, I have already received the second item. The Receiving Now quantity reflects the quantity I entered before. If I'm ready to receive the first item, I can select this item and provide the receiving quantity in the Details panel. Now, because this item is the serial controlled item, I am being prompted with an option to register serial number along with the receiving process. For the third item in the list, I ordered 10 units and now received the 6th item. And the ship has also confirmed that they can only ship 6. In that case, I can use the Close Remaining Quantity function to indicate there's no more to receive. To use this function in headquarters, you must configure the purchase order to allow under-delivery and define an under-delivery tolerance percentage for the item. You can also receive a product that was not originally in the purchase order. And this feature only works for purchase order receiving, and it's not possible to receive unplanned items against the transfer orders. You can use the Receive All action on the app bar to quickly receive all of the items as necessary, or you can use the Pause Receiving action if you want to take a break from the receiving process in order to perform other tasks. When I am ready to submit the receipt to headquarters to finalize the receiving process, I can click the Finish Receiving button and enter the receipt number, which is typically provided by the vendor in the packing slip of the purchase order document. After submission, the purchase order is now being processed back to headquarters. So what you just saw is the demo of the inbound inventory operation. And then the second operation I want to talk today is the outbound inventory, which is very similar to the first one, but in the opposite direction. As the name indicates, it facilitates you to ship items out of your store inventory through the outbound transfer orders. And during the shipment process, this operation allows you to register serial numbers for serial controlled items that you are shipping. And you can also specify the location where the items are shipped from for the location controlled items. Those are the common capabilities available in both inbound and outbound operations. You can also close the remaining quantity if you confirm that for whatever reason, you cannot ship the full quantity as requested. And we also have a view in this outbound operation for you to access the historical shipment for the past 7 days. Finally, from this operation, you can create new outbound transfer order if you want to send items to other locations. Same as the inbound inventory operation, this operation was built to replace the legacy picking and receiving operation. Now, here is the demo. In this demo, I will cover how to use the outbound inventory operation in point of sale to ship items out of store warehouse through a transfer order. To begin the process, I'm going to open the Outbound Inventory operation from my point-of-sale application. In this document list view, I can see 3 tabs. The Active tab shows open outbound transfer orders that my store needs to work on. In the Dropped tab, I can see dropped transfer order requests my store has created. The store may decide that they want to ship a bunch of items to other stores or distribution centers, and this operation supports you to create ad hoc outbound transfer requests. Those dropped requests are only saved locally and have not yet been submitted to Commerce headquarters. On the Complete tab, we can see all the transfer orders my store has fully shipped in the past 7 days. When you select an active transfer order, you will get the overview of that order in the right side details panel. In this case, I can tell there are 55 items pending shipment from my store to San Jose warehouse. By clicking the Order Details button, I will get into the details view of this order to start the shipment process. In this details view, I can see all the products with quantities that have been requested for my store to ship. There are different ways to handle the shipment. If you have a barcode scanner device and items to ship are barcoded, you can simply scan the product barcodes. When the barcode is scanned, it will be validated against the line items in this order. If there's a match, the shipping quantity of corresponding line item will be updated accordingly. Alternatively, you can use the Ship Product action on the add bar to enter the product number manually. If the product is location controlled, you can then specify a location where the item is shipped from. And then to enter the shipping quantity of that item. Another way to set the shipping quantity is to select a line item in the list and set the quantity in the details panel. If the item is a serial controlled item, you have an option to register serial number that you're shipping. Now for the third product, the ordered quantity is 10. If my store only has 6 items available and I cannot ship the full quantity as requested, then you can use this close remaining quantity toggle to indicate there's no more to ship. You can use the Ship All action to quickly set shipping quantity of all items to the requested quantity if you wish to ship everything. And you also have the ability to pause the process, work on other tasks, and resume the shipment later. Finally, if I'm happy with everything I've entered, I can click the Finish Fulfillment to submit the document for headquarters to process. Once successfully processed, the shipped items will be deducted from the inventory of my store warehouse and waiting for the destination warehouse to receive.
Okay, so that's the second demo of the outbound inventory operation. Now, next, inventory adjustment is the business process to adjust the inventory into or out of the store warehouse. In other words, to increase and decrease inventory quantities to accommodate a specific business need without having to do a sale, receipt, or physical recount. There are some typical use cases of this business process in the real world. For example, deduct the damaged or broken items from the stock that is available for sale, or use some items as samples or donate a certain amount of the items where inventory deduction is not classified as a standard sale. Or you might just want to quickly correct some miscounted items to avoid performing a full cycle counting. Now, using our inventory adjustment operation, you can create a new adjustment request from point of sale to adjust one or more specific products into or out of your store warehouse. And you can then submit the request to headquarters, or with certain worker permission enabled, you can even directly post the adjustment result back to the ERP system. And same as the inbound and outbound operations, in this adjustment operation, we also give you a view to see the historical adjustments in the past 7 days. Behind the scene, this operation is leveraging the inventory adjustment journal and the movement journal in Dynamics ERP to process the on-hand inventory adjustment. I want to mention that this operation is a new feature that is still under development at this moment. We are expecting to make this operation general available in 2021 release wave 2. Now I will roll a preview video to demo this operation. In this demo, I will cover how to use the inventory adjustment operation to perform ad hoc adjustment of products inventory in the store warehouse. When the inventory adjustment operation is launched from the point of sale application, I am presented this journal list view. On the Draft tab, I can see all the draft adjustment requests my store has created. I can click the Create a New action on the add bar to create a brand new adjustment request. In this dialog, I need to select a journal name or template in order to create that request. In headquarters, I have already predefined several journal names that can be used by this inventory adjustment operation. For example, the Samples journal template has the default pause adjustment type set to out, which indicates to deduct the inventory. And for the miscounted journal name, I have configured this type to in, which is to increase the inventory. Back to pause operation. Assuming I want to remove several items from inventory and use them as samples in my store's sales floor, so I'm going to select the Samples template in order to create the request. The next step is to add products into the request. You can either use the handheld device to scan the product barcodes to add them, or use the Add Product action and manually enter the product number and the quantity you want to adjust. Like other inventory operations in point of sale, this adjustment operation also supports location control item, so you can set or update the location where the adjustment needs to take place. And for serial control item, I can set the serial numbers that I want to adjust in the inventory. As you can see, by default, all the products added into this request will be adjusted out of the inventory, and that is based on the adjustment type defined in the journal template that I selected at the beginning of the process. But you can change the adjustment type for any individual line item as you want. For instance, for this particular product, instead of removing 3 units out of the inventory, I can update the adjustment type toggle to add 3 units back into the inventory. You're also allowed to update the quantity prior to the submission of the request. Once I'm done with the data entry, I can click the Submit button to send this adjustment request to headquarters for processing. We have a worker permission in headquarters to control whether the adjustment request submitted from point of sale will be posted to ERP system directly or only created in headquarters without posting. In my case, because I have this auto post permission enabled, the request just submitted was already posted in headquarters. Otherwise, someone needs to open the journal and perform the final posting there. You can find all the adjustment requests submitted in the past 7 days in this complete tab of the adjustment operation.
All right. And then the next operation I want to talk about is the inventory movement. And this operation can facilitate users to move inventory of one or more specific products from one location to another location within the store warehouse. For example, to move items from your store's backroom to the sales floor. As a prerequisite to use this operation, first, your store warehouse must have inventory location defined in the headquarters. And the second, the items that you want to move must be location-controlled items in their storage dimension configuration. Well, you may think the concept of inventory movement operation is very similar to transfer order. In our definition, the transfer order is primarily used to move items across warehouses, and for the situation that in transit, inventory must be tracked. However, the inventory movement operation or function
only supports the movement of items within a single warehouse, and it reflects the immediate movement without associating any cost implications. Behind the scene, this operation is leveraging the transfer journal capability in Dynamics ERP to update the location information associated with the moved items in the inventory. Same as the inventory adjustment operation, this operation is still under development at this moment, and it is planned to be released in the upcoming 2021 Wave 2. I would like to give you a preview demo of this operation. In this demo, I will cover how to use the inventory movement operation to move products between locations in the store warehouse. To begin the process, I'm opening the inventory movement operation from my point of sale application. And from this journal list view, I can use the create new action on bar to create a brand new movement request. I'm being prompted a dialog for me to select a journal name or template to drive the request creation. In this drop-down list, I can see all the transfer journal names predefined in headquarters, and I will pick the one that best fits the purpose of the specific movement request. To add products into the journal for movement, like other inventory operations, I can either scan a product barcode or alternatively open this Add Product dialog to key in the product number manually. To move products between locations, as a prerequisite, the product must be location controlled. If the entered product is not a location controlled item, the operation will display an error message. After the product is entered, I need to key in the quantity I want to move, and selecting the originating and the destination inventory locations I want to move that product. I can then repeat the process to add more products into the journal. If the entered product is serial controlled, I also have an option to specify the serial numbers that I want to move. At any time prior to submission, I can update the quantity and the location if I want to make a correction. If I'm okay with all the data entry, I can then click the Submit action to submit this movement request to headquarters for processing. You can find all the movement requests submitted by the kernel store in the past 7 days in the Complete tab of this operation. I'll move on to the next. Stock counting is another common business process in the store inventory management, and this is the process for physical verification of the quantity and the condition of the items that are in stock. And this is often done to execute an audit on whether the technical bookkeeping stock matches the physical warehouse stock. And usually, as a result of the counting process, the on-hand inventory might be adjusted. In real world, there are generally two types of stock counting. Some retailers choose to count their stock at a certain time of the year, for example, year-end counting, whereas others may perform periodic counting on weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis. Now, our current in-market stock count operation in point-of-sale application supports both scheduled and unscheduled counting. The scheduled counting is initiated from Commerce headquarters by creating a counting journal that contains predefined list of items and linked to a specific store warehouse. Unscheduled counting, or also known as ad hoc counting, is initiated from the store. When the counting is completed in the store, the counting journal will then send back to headquarters, where it will be reviewed and posted. Now let's take a look at the demo of the current capability in the store count operation.
In this demo, I will cover how to perform a scheduled and unscheduled counting using the stock count pause operation. In headquarters, I have created this counting journal for San Francisco store to count a few predefined items. When San Francisco store employees open the store count operation in the point-of-sale application, they can find this counting journal displayed in the journal list view. By clicking the Edit button, you are able to see the journal details, what products are required to be counted in the store. To begin the counting process in this prompt dialog, you can key in the product you're counting. and enter the counted quantity. Alternatively, you can directly select the line item in the counting journal and use the edit quantity action to provide the counted quantity. When you're done with the counting process, you can use the commit action to submit the counting results back to headquarters. The counting journal in headquarters will be updated to show the counted quantity submitted from point of sale, indicating the delta and who performed the counting for each line item. To perform an unscheduled or ad hoc counting from the store count operation, you need to create a new counting journal. Then similarly, key in the counted product number, select dimension values as needed, and then provide the counted quantity. Once you're done, you can commit the counting result back to headquarters. After submission, a new counting journal will appear in headquarters counting list page, and headquarters users can perform validation and final posting.
So as you just saw in the demo, the current counting operation or stock count operation in point of sale provides limited functionalities. Taking this opportunity, I would also like to let you know that on our roadmap, we do plan to introduce a bunch of functional and experience enhancements to the stock counting operation. The first, like inventory adjustment and movement operation, we want to provide the ability to choose a predefined counting journal name or template to drive the counting request creation from point of sale. And the second, the operation will eventually be enhanced to support barcode scanning experience for you to add or count products. And third, we will fully support serial-controlled and location-controlled item in the counting process, just like other operations you saw. And then we acknowledge that in the real-world scenario, counting is typically executed with multiple users in a collaborative way. So this operation will be enhanced in the future to support parallel counting by multiple users in different locations of the store, and then with the data reconciliation upon the HQ processing. Lastly, we plan to introduce a new worker permission to control whether the counting results submitted from point of sale application should be posted to ERP system directly or just create a counting journal or update a counting journal in back office. So those are the enhancements on our roadmap, just one for your information. And then the next operation, which is also the last operation we want to talk about today, is the inventory lookup. As we all know, an accurate view of the inventory across organization helps our stores associates provide timely, superior customer service. So it is important that cashiers in the store have a real-time or near real-time inventory information at their fingertips so that they can accurately promise the product delivery or pickup when the customer is ready to make a purchase decision. The inventory lookup operation provides the inventory availability information for products across locations. Let's jump straight into this demo to understand our current capabilities in the inventory lookup operation.
In this demo, I will cover how to use the inventory lookup operation in point of sale to check products inventory availability. When the inventory lookup operation is started, I need to use the numeric keyboard to enter a product number to query its inventory information. If the entered product is a distinct product or individual variant, the operation provides me a list view showing the product's inventory information across locations. The list shows 3 quantities for each location. Inventory refers to the available physical quantity, reserved is the physical reserved quantity, and ordered is the ordered in total quantity. The unit displayed here is the inventory unit of measure defined for the product in headquarters. The locations you can see in this table are all stores and warehouses configured in the fulfillment groups that my current store is linked to. I can use the sort action on the app bar to sort the inventory data in the list view by different criteria.
For example, the geolocation sorting option will sort the locations based on their distance to my current store. So in my case, given my current store is San Francisco store, the San Jose store, which is the closest store nearby, shows the next in the list. And this is helpful when a cashier is assisting the customer to decide the best in-store pickup location. You can also sort the data by quantity to get a better view about which stores have the item available for sale. For a selected location, the Show Store Availability action takes me to a page showing the available to promise or ATP quantities for the product by considering future planned purchase orders or transfer orders. And this could help retailers drive additional efficiency by improving inventory planning. When you search a master product with the variants, this operation also provides you an option to view the inventory availability for all variants in this dimension-based matrix view. You have the flexibility to change the pivots for variants to view the information in your preferred way. By default, the matrix view shows the data for current store, but you can use the store action on the app bar to look up other stores configured in the fulfillment group. Each cell in the matrix represents an individual variant and displays the 3 quantities as shown in the list view. By clicking the cell, you have more actions to perform against the selected variant. The View Product Details action will take you to the product details page of the item. From there, you can easily change the dimension values to check the on-hand inventory for different variants directly on the screen.
Okay, so talking about inventory lookup, I would also like to spend a couple minutes discussing the inventory data accuracy topic. As you know, the commerce inventory data is living in the asynchronous architecture. We are leveraging various CDX jobs to synchronize the transactional or inventory data between headquarters and the channel databases. Therefore, it's important that you understand the on-hand inventory data provided by headquarters might not be 100% accurate in real time. For example, if some items are sold out through the cash and carry transactions created in the physical store, but the transactions have not yet been synced back to the headquarters through the P job, then headquarters won't immediately have the information about related inventory trends for that sale. And conversely, until the product availability job is run, the channel databases won't have the latest headquarter on-hand inventory snapshot. So to address this data accuracy challenge or problem, in 10.0.10 release, we introduced a so-called channel-side inventory calculation mechanism. This is also one of the 3 frameworks I want to talk today in this session. The logic behind this channel-side calculation is basically to take the headquarters inventory data last synced to the channel side as a baseline, and then factors in additional inventory changes that have occurred on the channel side but aren't included in that baseline to calculate a new real-time estimated on-hand inventory. Let me use an example to explain the formula. Now, assuming the most recent product availability job run syncs 100 on-hand quantity of a product from headquarters to channel. And then we also assume that after that, within a certain period of time, no CDX jobs have been executed to exchange the data between headquarters and the channel. Let's say in that time window, if 10 items of this product were returned from customers to the store, then headquarters won't immediately know that. However, our channel side calculation will know it, so that it knows there are now 110 items available in the physical store. And similarly, if later on more items of this product are sold, then channel side estimated quantity will be adjusted accordingly and immediately. So over the time, as you can see in the timeline, you can tell how the channel side calculated data can better reflect a more accurate snapshot than the headquarters side data. Back to the inventory lookup operation, in 10.09 release and earlier, this operation used a real-time service call
to fetch the inventory information directly from headquarters. As you could imagine, one problem with this approach is the data inaccuracy based on the fact we just discussed. And the other potential problem, is the performance impact those direct calls can have on your headquarters servers. So starting 10.10 release with the introduction of this channel-side inventory calculation mechanism, you can now configure the inventory lookup operation to use the channel-side calculation logic behind the scene and turn off that real-time service call so that the physical available quantity displayed in the inventory lookup operation will be the channel-side estimated quantity. And you can get both the data accuracy and the performance benefits from that. As we discussed previously, most inventory operations in POS have a very common pattern that they need to submit a local document or request for headquarters to process. And sometimes users need to deal with very large inventory documents. For example, to receive and register high volumes of product into the store warehouse, or to perform full counting of hundreds or even thousands of items in the warehouse. To avoid experiencing potential timeouts or failures and to improve the operation efficiency, we have our second framework, which is asynchronous document framework behind the scene to empower those 6 operations and to optimize the handling the processing of documents submitted from point of sale. By utilizing this processing framework, after you submit an inventory document or request from point of sale operation to headquarters, that document will be initially placed in the processing in HQ status. And you don't have to wait for its completion. You're free to move on to other tasks, for example, to help customers with the sales transactions while the processing occurs in the background. And you can come back to check the status of the document in corresponding POS inventory operation. If a document processing fails, then POS users will have chance to make a correction to it as needed and then retry the submission. Now, the third framework I want to talk today is the inventory validation framework. As you have noticed, most inventory operations in point of sale require users to provide the data as part of the end-to-end flow. For example, the product number, quantity, location, serial numbers, etc. And the data will eventually be processed by headquarters business logic. So it is important to ensure that the entered data is valid and complete to avoid processing failure. Now, as you're entering data into various forms or dialogues in those operations, our validation framework will perform necessary inline validations and alert you if there's an issue. For instance, the entered product number is not valid, or the entered quantity has exceeded the maximal allowed quantity. And in addition, we have a review function available in all those operations for you to trigger on-demand validation of the local document prior to submission. So you will have a chance to correct any missing or problem data that may cause processing failure. And lastly, in headquarters commerce parameters, you also have an option to configure point-of-sale inventory operations to enable automatic validation. With that parameter enabled, upon submitting the document from point-of-sale inventory operations to headquarters, the systematic validation will be automatic executed. Now, let's watch a video that uses the inbound-outbound operations to demonstrate the review function.
In this inbound inventory operation, I'm going to review the first purchase order. In this purchase order, the first item is a serial-controlled item. Let's receive all units of this item. For the demo, I purposefully skip the serial number entry for now. The last 3 items in the list have the same ordered quantity of 10. For item 0004, I'm going to set the receiving quantity at 10. For comparison, I'm going to set the receiving quantity of the next item over the ordered quantity to 12, and the last one less than the ordered quantity at 7. Now, before proceeding to commit the receipt, I can use the review action on the app bar to validate this purchase order with all the data I have provided so far. I'm prompted with this side panel showing me the review results. Currently, it shows 1 hard error and 2 warning messages. I can click the Go to Review button to get more details on that, and it will open this Review Details page. Here, all the issues are presented and clearly grouped by issue type. The first issue tab is about the missing serial numbers for serial-controlled items. Checking the Details panel, it gives me clear instruction that I'm required to update the serial numbers. I can quickly access the serial number registration form from the Details panel and put in the 2 missing serial numbers to correct the first issue. The other 2 tabs are soft warnings, which is optional to update. For example, this one indicates for the item I have received additional units. I ordered 10 but received 12. Depending on the purchase order over-delivery configurations in back office, this issue could be a hard error that you must fix. Here, the operation gives me an easy way to update the data that causes the issue. I can quickly access this dialog to update the receiving quantity to the originally ordered quantity as needed. The third tab is the Under Receiving issue. For this item, I ordered 10 but only received 7. Similarly, I can update the receiving quantity as needed. Once I've reviewed and confirmed there's no more issues to correct, I can then proceed to submit the receipt. Now, let's switch to the outbound flow. In the outbound inventory operation, you can also find the review action on the app bar. In this demo, for this outbound transfer order, let's overship item 0005 by 12 and undership item 0006 by 7. This time, I want to show you a slightly different experience. Instead of using review action to manually trigger validation, in back office, I have configured POS inventory operations to enable automatic validation. When I click Finish Fulfillment, review is executed systematically, and I am provided the review results. In this case, given all the warnings are optional to update, I can choose to proceed without any update.
Okay, as we look at all the 6 inventory operations today, at the end of my talk, I would also like to mention a few functional limitations in those operations that you may want to consider when you plan to start using them for your business. As of now, those operations only support size, color, and style product dimensions. The configuration and the version dimensions are not yet supported, which means that, for example, if you have products configured with configuration dimension in headquarters, you will not be able to use our inbound and outbound operations to receive or ship those items. Regarding the tracking dimensions, batch number and owner are not yet supported. I know we have a lot of customers requesting to support batch number in our operations. I have a good news for you that we do have that plan on our roadmap to support batch number for point-of-sale inventory operations all up. Now, if your company is using warehouse management process or advanced warehouse capabilities, we currently provide limited support for license plate and inventory status. So when you select a location for a location-controlled item in the inventory operations, if that location is linked to a profile that requires license plate control, then our operation today will systematically apply a license plate to the item. POS users cannot change or manage the license plate data as of now. And for items that require inventory status, the status field cannot be set or modified through the POS application. And the default inventory status that is defined in the store warehouse configuration will be used. I think that concludes my talk today. I know we have a couple more minutes for Q&A. I would like to check with Michael to see if there's any questions that I can help answer. Michael?
Hello, Boyce.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a couple questions from our customer. And the first one is that
does the display, the inventory location, have visibility to multiple D365 for legal entities?
Okay, I think this question is regarding the inventory lookup operation. As of now, this operation only supports querying the inventory data across locations within one legal entity. We don't support a cross legal entity inventory lookup at this moment.
Okay, thank you. And the other question is that how I browse inventory availability of an item line in my transaction. And the customer also want to know that how I browse inventory availability of product list. Is there a button in the post which enable the customer to view these inventory availability informations?
I think that this is a very good question. We didn't get a chance to demo this part in the video, but we do allow you to configure inventory lookup button in the data grid, in the button grid for the transaction screen or the cart page of your POS application, so that when you select a cart line and click that button that you configured on the transaction screen, we will take you to the inventory lookup view and filter the inventory information just for that selected line, so that you can have a quick way to access the inventory lookup for any line item in the transactions. So the answer is yes, and I also recommend you to refer to our public documentations regarding the inventory lookup to know more details about how to configure the button grid to enable the inventory lookup on the transaction screen.
Thank you, Boyce. And there's another question about mobile device. So the customer want to know do all inventory journals have mobile optimized pages that allow the customer to perform inventory operation from this scanning device?
Yes, our new inventory operations, including inbound, outbound adjustment movement that we saw today in the demos, are all optimized for barcode scanning experience and the mobile view. The older operations have not yet been refreshed, like the stock count operation that we saw, but we do have the feature on our roadmap to redesign the stock count operation to also enable the optimized experience for barcode scanning.
And the customer also want to know that during the receipt process, do we support a license plate now for transporter?
I think as I just discussed in the last slide, we provide limited support for license plate. So the license plate controlled item can be received through POS, but we will assign a systematic license plate to the receiving. That is pulled via a number sequence. You are not able to manually input the license plate in our inventory operations as of now.
Okay, and the final question I have is that the customer want to know what happens if they post a negative journal, but there is no on-hand quantity in the headquarters available for that product.
I think the same thing will happen if you create a journal in headquarters. For example, if your item is configured to allow like go negative or negative physical inventory, then it will allow you to post. Otherwise, it will prevent you from posting.
I think that's all questions from our customer.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael, and thank you for all the questions. Well, thanks again for joining today's session. I hope you find the information we shared in this talk is helpful. Just a kind reminder, we do have upcoming talks lined up, so we welcome you to sign up for those topics that are interested to your business. And then I also recommend you to watch our past talks if you didn't attend, to get a better understanding of the different aspects of our product.
there are some public documentations related to the inventory topic that I shared today, where you can find more details. Last but not least, feel free to reach out to us via Commerce Yammer group or Commerce forums if you have any questions, feedback, or feature suggestions. Now, with that, I would like to hand back to Erin.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. I would love to get we would love to get your feedback on today's session. I just posted a link to a short survey in the Q&A panel. We value your feedback and welcome your input on how we did today, and we would like to know, what do you want to see in future events? The survey scores are on a scale from 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest score possible. Thank you for your participation today, and as a reminder, the recording of today's session will be available on the TechTalks Community Dynamics page within approximately 5 business days. I'd like to extend a big thank you to our presenter today and to our moderator, and a thank you to our audience for logging in and joining us. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you may be.